In this video, I'm gonna show you everything I bought with £20 at Lidl UK. Today is the 2nd of January. As you know, January is the month of New Year resolutions. It's 2025, it's a new year, so there's people who are doing veganuary, there's people who are cutting alcohol, starting the gym. One of the things that I really struggle with is saving money on food. And not as a content creator, not for my work. I know what you're gonna say. I do content creation in the food industry as a job. And also, if you don't know it, I have an Instagram page called The Italian Foodaholic, where I review restaurants and I share my personal food recommendations, especially Italian food. So I'm not only spending food on work, food that I need for a video or at a restaurant, but I tend to spend a lot of food when I go out for my regular food shopping. And at the end of the month, I realize that it's a lot of money. So what I'm gonna try to do this month is a very simple challenge. Well, it's not simple, but I'll try my best. I want to try to lower my food spending with this simple challenge. So instead of just going out and buying whatever I see, I'm gonna try to keep a budget every time that I go shopping. And I decided to share this with you because I feel like it might be useful if you're trying to do the same. And this budget is £20. So what am I gonna do? For this video, I asked Alessandra, who's my flatmate and one of my closest friends. She's very good at finding deals in supermarkets and in general, just like from clothes to food shopping to furniture, pretty much everything. Like she loves doing that. So I'm just waiting for her to come back from work. So we're gonna go to Lidl together and I'm gonna show you everything we buy. So andiamo! Ciao! Okay, so she is Alessandra. Hello! Alessandra and I have been flatmates for over 6 years, which I think is more than some marriages for sure. C'è una rarità che questa cosa succeda a Londra, perché comunque la gente cambia inquilini molto frequentemente. Invece noi, we have been together for a while. We changed 3 houses, actually, yes. So this is our 3rd house. By the way, I'm here with Alessandra today because, as I told you, we're gonna try and spend only £20 on our shopping, which means we're gonna have to make sure that we're not doing any extra expenses. And in general, we are gonna look at every price and really put an effort to make sure that we get as many products as possible.
We even remember the bags.
Yes, I was about to say, the first tip, which she reminded me of before we left, is that to avoid extra spending, make sure that you bring your own bags when you go to the supermarket, because 30-40 pence are gonna be gone with your carrier bag, so bring your own bags. Now we are on our way to our Lidl.
Ci siamo. Allora, qua in genere mettono le offerte della frutta, almeno in questa Lidl, però
Okay, so apparently we are not supposed to be filming here inside.
Approximately 10 hours later.
Buongiorno everyone. A little recap of what happened yesterday, because probably in this video you're not gonna see our shopping inside Lidl, which is something that I had planned to include, but it's fine because it's not the main thing. They basically said that we were not allowed to film inside. Completely fine, completely up to them. I'm still going to show you what I bought. So the idea was, at least for me, because this is how I usually do my shopping, to include in this budget things that I could actually cook quickly, ready meals, as well as maybe a few vegetables or a few snacks, something that's easy and quick, because basically I work from home and when I'm having lunch during weekdays, I don't want to have extra complicated meals. So let me show you. As we said yesterday, best tip to save money when you are on a budget is to get your own bags. So I have this cute bag from Alessandra, like she got me this bag with dogs. Anyways, this is my shopping. I got a receipt, so we're gonna see together everything that I bought. £20, yeah? I got 13 different items, which I think is really good. I had, like, this is a pretty good bag. It's got quite a few products. So I would say mission accomplished, missione compiuta in terms of budget. But now let's dive in. By the way, I'm going to add every single price on the screen so that you can see how much you paid for each item. Fusilli. Now, Alessandra actually recommended this product because she bought it before. It's bronze dye pasta, which means, well, they explained it pretty well, probably better than me. Fusilli pasta that has been shaped fruit bronze dies to create a rough texture that allows sauces to stick to create a fuller flavor. So basically, bronze-like pasta is usually more expensive than the regular one because of how it's made. Yes, so I paid for this pack, which actually is half a kilo, 500 grams. I paid fusilli bronzo 1,29, £1.29. Pretty good price, I would say. You can usually find bronze-like pasta for £2.50 probably in other supermarkets. It's a pretty good price. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm going to let you know how it is. Next one, spinach and ricotta girasoli. Girasoli means sunflower. The reason why they're called girasoli is probably because they are shaped like sunflowers. But what this product is, in simple terms, is ravioli with a different shape. Yeah, so it's literally the same thing. But what I liked about these when I saw them is that they have a green dough. So probably the spinach isn't on the inside like usual ravioli. I would say that the most common ravioli that you find in Italy have ricotta and spinach inside with either butter or tomato sauce with basil. So that's like the most common filling that you find. Basically the same, is inspired by the classic ravioli, but on top of that they have the spinach inside the dough. It's 250 grams, which means that you can probably serve two. I think serves two, yes. So yeah, for this box I paid filled pasta spinach $2.29. This is not the cheapest, but also if you think about other brands, for example, Waitrose has a really good ravioli and fresh pasta brand called Del Lugo, and some of their ravioli for the same amount, well, sometimes they have meat inside, so obviously it makes them more expensive, but those are around £4, £5.50, so this is a pretty good price compared to these other brands. Okay, now this is a product I don't buy it every single week just because I kind of get tired of the taste sometimes, but I would say that every 3 or 4 months I always end up buying it from different places, and that's smoked salmon because it's super easy. Like, you can put it in sandwiches, you can use it for pasta, omelets, salads. Yes, this is a product that I always get, and actually I used this in a previous video, what I eat in a day.
Time for the main star of the show, which is the trout.
Oh no, that was trout. Okay, so smoked salmon, mild and delicate Scottish salmon. So this is just like a simple version. Sometimes they have dill with salmon, or they have the chili one. They have all these different flavors at Lidl and also in other supermarkets. I went for the simple one just because I don't know what I'm gonna use it for, so it was easier that way. It's 100 grams and you can freeze it too. And for 100 grams, I paid £2.99. Again, pretty good. Sometimes you find salmon for £5, £6. So I would say this is a pretty good price. Now, one thing that you're always gonna find in Italian households is this, grana padano or parmigiano reggiano. Parmigiano reggiano is a bit more expensive. I went for the grana padano. They had different sizes. They had a smaller one as well, but I think that there was a slight difference in price, and this one was way cheaper based on, you know, the amount of cheese that I had inside. So it's already grated, so you don't even have to bother. Although they do say that, like, apparently it's better if you grate it in the moment, which is why when you go to a fancy restaurant or like those high-end kind of restaurants, they tend to come with the glove, the slice of cheese, and they grate it in front of you, because that way they're also showing that it's an authentic product, like it's the actual Parmigiano Reggiano, as opposed to having just like a mix of cheese. So I think that's one reason. And also I think it retains the flavor more. All right, so price for this XXL Grana Padano is $2.79 for 200 grams, which is pretty great. I would say that the average price for this product in another supermarket is £2.50, but you get like the tiny, I would say is half the size of this. Now, this, I was actually very curious to try this. It's a plant-based spinach and pine nut bites. I'm not the biggest fan of vegan products, I have to admit. I know that in this historical moment, we're all trying to eat less meat and to be a bit more mindful of what we eat and reduce the meat consumption in general. For me, it's not that easy, but I'm trying my best. But by the way, this is not the reason why I got this product. I just found it in the reduced section. And also, spinach and pine nut really sounds good, I have to say. So these are just vegan bites. I think you can pop them in the air fryer or in the oven. Let's see. Oven, microwave. Oh, you can put it in a microwave too. So if you want to bring this to work, then it's a very convenient solution. And this was one of the cheapest items. I paid £1.49. It contains,
Let's say
9 bites. I mean, I would say this could be a lunch. I'm not sure whether it's very nutritionally balanced because it's per portion. It's got 185 calories for 4, so probably around 450 for the whole box. I mean, it's not really high in protein, as you might imagine. Oh, wait a second. I'm going to show you how they recommend to eat this thing. I don't know if you want to try it. We listen and we don't judge. Yeah, so if you want to try it, I'm not gonna judge you, but this is how they recommend eating it. Looking for a classic family favorite? Try adding our bites to creamy carbonara with mushrooms and basil. So these bites has spinach and pine nut, which none of these ingredients are included in carbonara. On top of that, you want to add them to a carbonara with mushrooms and basil. So this carbonara is going to have mushrooms, basil, spinach, and pine nuts. And what does carbonara actually have? A whole different thing. Please, let's just not call it carbonara, but who would want to have this inside a carbonara or any pasta anyways? Probably if I saw that, I would have thought about it twice. No, I'm joking. I'm not gonna eat it like that. I'm just gonna have them on its own. So yeah, we listen and we don't judge. Next one. This product has to be on your list, and here's why. It's one of the most popular brands in Italy. Like, you're gonna find this easily in every supermarket. So this is one of those products that are like distributed in every country. So even though this is LIDL UK, probably LIDL Italia has the same. So what I usually use to make a tomato sauce for pasta, for example, is passata. This is not passata. This is polpa, which you can still use to make tomato sauce. And actually, let's have a look and see how they recommend doing it. It doesn't say. Maybe this is why it was so cheap. The thing you should do to make the best tomato sauce for your pasta or for anything really is to have only the tomatoes. Like, this is if you want to, make sure that you know what's inside, right? Because the pelati are the best thing that you can get because it's literally just tomatoes. You know what you're eating basically. Whereas often passata, other products, they tend to have additional ingredients. Obviously, they do write it in the box. There's nothing, toxic, or it's not that bad. I am definitely gonna use this, and I think it's gonna taste pretty good as well. But you could add all these ingredients by yourself. Like, you could add all these ingredients when you're preparing your sauce. So I think that this is like, you just have to cook it and it's basically done. Yeah, so what I'm gonna do is probably adding some cipolla, some onion to make the tomato sauce. Like, I'm basically gonna add everything except for salt and sugar. I'm gonna taste a little bit before I prepare it, and then I'm gonna see what I want to add based on my personal taste. If you want to get the polpa fine, which for your reference was 89 pence. So this is probably like the cheapest one you can get. Yes, so with this brand, you're going pretty safe, especially because I think that Lidl has its own brand, but I tried it a while ago. It wasn't that great. So at least with this one, you're paying a little bit extra, but it's good quality. Next product of our shopping is a strawberry fruit spread, which I'm not sure why they haven't called it jam. I think that there are different ways of preparing it. Like, there is the jam and then there's the conserva, but I got a strawberry fruit spread. And the reason why I got this is because it's 50% less sugar. When I usually have like toast with jam, for example, like toast with butter and jam, what I don't like sometimes is that fake taste of sugar that you get when you try those things. I opened this one for breakfast, by the way. You cannot see it because I had only a little bit, but I liked it because I could actually taste the fruit. I know the strawberry is not the sweetest fruit, and actually most of the time is really sour, and I don't know, it's not always that great, but the amount of sugar is just fine. Like, it's not extra sugary. This is a way for me to reduce my sugar intake if I know that I'm having a big meal for dinner, or that I'm gonna have, I don't know, a cake or some other sweets during the day, and I don't want to start the day with a very sugary breakfast. This is what I would have. This is the reason why I got it. And on top of that, it was also really, really cheap. It was £1.19. This is probably gonna last me a month. Do you know for how long you can store jam or like a fruit spread, however you want to call it? Do you know how long it lasts? Because I think that on average you can keep it for like a month, but I'm not sure, especially because compared to, for example, other things, like other products, they would say consume it within 7 days or consume it within 3 days. For jam, that's never written. Oh no, there is. 15 of October 25. Oh yes, okay. I was like, did it expire 3 months ago? No, because we are in 2025, we are in January. By the way, this is a really good product. It's the only one that I've tried already from this shopping, so definitely recommend it. There are a few sweet things, but there's also something that I have on the fridge. So I'm gonna finish with the breakfast snack section. And then I'm gonna show you the last product, which I kept in the freezer because, you know, I didn't want to take it out with all the rest. So this is a more healthy / high in protein section of my shopping. As you know, I eat out a lot for my job, and even when I'm not reviewing restaurants for my page, I do social media services for restaurants. So what I do with them is I go to the restaurant. Let's say they do pasta, so I go there and we film a couple of dishes, the way they make it, the whole process, and once we serve them at the table. And what happens after the shooting is that I obviously get to eat that, or, you know, we share it with other people that I'm working with. So I tend to eat out a lot for this reason as well, because even when I'm not eating out for my page, I'm probably eating what's left after a shooting. That's one of the reasons why whenever I'm at home, I don't always manage, but I try to have healthier meals or high in protein, because what happens in Italian restaurants is that unless you order a steak or chicken breast or something like that, you don't actually get that protein intake as much. We don't have those big meals with like rice or pasta and meat together. It's usually like first the pasta and then the meat. And sometimes the meat just isn't there. So one thing that I love about Lidl is that they have all these different high in protein, like protein snacks, protein shakes, high protein puddings. So they have all these different things, and it just makes it so much easier to increase your protein intake. So one thing I found that I liked are these high protein porridges. What you have to do with this? Well, I'm pretty sure that I don't have to explain how a porridge is made. I think that you just have to add the water, keep it with the lid closed for a couple of minutes, and then when you open it, it's creamy and it's ready to eat. And then you can add whatever you want. Each pot has got 13 grams of protein, which is pretty good. I got 2 different flavors. One is chocolate, and one is just a regular maple syrup, I think. Golden syrup. Let's have a look. It's got 67% of oats. Sugar is the second ingredient. Milk protein, skim milk powder, natural flavoring. To be honest, I would expect, you know, you are selling a product that probably people who go to the gym or people who are trying to eat a more balanced diet, I think this would be the kind of customer. And I would expect sugar not to be the second ingredient. Like, I know that it's got only 5 ingredients, so probably they didn't have a choice, but just to give you an idea, 70 grams is the amount per pot. Protein is 13.7, yes. Carbohydrate 43, obviously, of which sugar 13.9. So 15% I think is sugar. Well, anyways, we live only once, and these are really tasty as well. So yeah, another very good. Oh, I actually have to tell you the price, because this was one of the cheapest things I got yesterday, and these were 0.69. So both of them were 1.40. I would say if you want to have this for breakfast every day, probably would be a very reasonable choice because they're so cheap. I should actually start buying them every day. What do we have left? Yes, last product of our breakfast section, let's call it that way. It's high protein milk chocolate crisp, which looks more or less like a chocolate bar, but it's a lot thinner. It's got no added sugar. That's something that I didn't see. It's got 27 grams of protein for how much? For 100 grams. So okay, it's got 27 grams of protein for the whole thing. It looks like a much better option, you know, in terms of if you're trying to have less sugar in your day, then this could be a better option because it's got no added sugar and it's high in protein. Oh yes, one last product before I leave you. I'm gonna take it from the freezer. To be honest, this is one of the products that I'm the most excited about. Mini potato gratins, rosemary and thyme. This is how the box looks like. The reason why I got this is because I think it's one of those things when you know that you have like a last minute guest coming for lunch or for dinner and you don't know what to make. These are perfect. Like you just put them in the air fryer. I think it's like, I don't know, 20 minutes. You don't have to do anything and they are great starters. I think that I had the rosemary and thyme and another flavor. Yes, I think it was broccoli and parmesan. It was something like that. So it was another option similar to this. I'm not sure how much I paid. I paid potato gratin $2.29. So this is one of the most expensive thing, if not the most expensive one. No, the most expensive item was the smoked salmon. So smoked salmon, grana padano, potato gratin. Those were the 3 most expensive products that I bought. One last thing. Well, you probably don't need to see it. I also got a mango for £0.69. So in total, I spent £19.93. This is the receipt. And yes, So that is all. That's it. Spero che vi sia piaciuto questo video. Non so neanche perché sto facendo questa conclusione in italiano, ma ogni tanto ci sta. L'unica cosa che vi chiedo, ragazzi, se vi è piaciuto questo video, per favore subscribe to my channel. It's really important for me, especially now that I'm starting out. One thing I'd like to know from you is what's your go-to supermarket when it comes to having like a budget-friendly shopping? What do you usually go for? Do you go to Lidl or do you have any other favorite supermarkets? Let me know in the comments. I hope to see you in the next video. Grazie mille per aver guardato fino a qua e ci vediamo presto. Ciao!